Good evening, what is video today? We have a bit of a match that I had in the IL-2M Type 3. This was when I was working on a grounded, well, it was an attacker task where you had to, well, not only destroy enemy attack aircraft, but also destroy ground targets using an attack aircraft, well, strike aircraft in this case. And of course, my usual tool for the job is the IL-2M Type 3. Now, why is that? And, well, a lot of it comes down to the way this thing feels. And I know that sounds ridiculous because normally the IL-2s are known for being a bit of a brick. This one, not so much. And, well, there's a lot of really to discuss about this vehicle. Of course, the main reason for its maneuverability is just the fact that it's got a decent bit of power, the wings are pretty nicely shaped and everything. It's pretty aerodynamic for what it is, and the tail control authority is actually pretty good on this vehicle. But of course, the main reason why we all love this thing, especially me and the guys on the Discord, is due to the VYA 23mm cannons. These are absolutely nasty. Now, of course, against a meta plane, you're not exactly going to be doing a whole lot, but that's the case for a lot of vehicles these days. But surprisingly, the IL-2 can still do a lot of work, and, well, this match will definitely show that it can still do a lot of work. But of course, what you've got to bear in mind is you're not going to beat everything, and that's really what the IL-2's limitation is. But to be fair, if I'm basing a limitation off of something that a lot of vehicles are limited to anyway, yeah, that's not really fair on it. But of course, whenever it comes to a ground target task, this is most likely my go-to, or my Tismar. Of course, some of you that will not have a Tismar will have to use this, and you still get a pretty decent vehicle for the job, no matter what. Of course, being an IL-2, it's more protected and everything, and it does, of course, have a rear gunner, being an M model. But it's the fact that this thing is just so consistent in what I've been able to do with it. It even can work as a bit of an air superiority fighter, and people still full commit head-on with this thing, even in 2023, which is just ridiculous. But apparently people just don't learn the fact that you're not going to beat 23mm unless you have a big-ass gun firing back at this thing. Or in the case of something like a Focke-Wulf, 4 big-ass guns firing back. And, well, even then you might have a bloody nose by the end of it. You'll notice as well I'm running the 25kg AO-25 M1 bombs. I actually like these little bombs. They're very useful for saving light machine gun and cannon ammo on light ground targets, and they actually do come in clutch quite a bit. But of course, the only thing you're going to see these little fellas do in this match is, of course, a bit of base bombing. And it actually surprised me how much it did to the base, but of course, we'll cover that later on. Anyway, I'm going to jump into the replay, and I will see you all in the replay. So you joined me a few minutes into the match. The only thing you missed is I got a crit on an A36, which, of course, as I said, I was working on a excuse me. Throat just went really dry then. I was working on a destroy enemy strike aircraft task. So, of course, naturally, I am going to hunt after this BF-110. But, of course, it is not going to be the most exciting match in terms of actual, like, shall we say, ground pounding, because I don't really get any done. But one thing I do get done is plenty of air kills, which is going to be fun to say the least. And that's number 1. That poor BF-110 thought he could outmaneuver an IL-2 Type 3. No, that doesn't work like that, I'm afraid, mate. Of course, here comes the 111, who I really don't think this guy was the sharpest tool in the shed, and that's putting that lightly, because he gets the bright idea to try and machine gun me with a single machine gun when I have 23mm Doom Cannon. Yeah, how's that working out for you, buddy? But, you know, people try, well, it seems people don't like thinking these days. Here's another example. This FW200 Condor, and Harry said I was bullying for this, decides to come my way as well. And once again, yeah, I don't think I was bullying, I was simply just getting rid of a problem which we didn't really have. So, yeah. That's kill number 3. You'll notice a lot of these kills at the early bits are just simple clean-up job, but it is going to get a bit more exciting because Faultier did tell me that this Focke-Wulf was coming right for me. But of course, being a Focke-Wulf player, the first thing they think of is a head-on, and well, you're not winning a head-on with this in an A1. And right as I say that, I've run out of cannon ammo, but I crit the engine on that Focke-Wulf 190A1. Like I said, this is not exactly a bit of gameplay where you're going to be seeing a lot of, shall we say, intelligent players. Because that's just how it is, really. They tend not to be. Like, especially Focke-Wulf players, I find there's a reason why the A1 is at such a stupidly low BR. And that's kill number 5. It's something that I really do think people just need to learn from, and just like Gaijin really needs to like encourage the players to really try and learn a little bit more, because I'm sorry, but the A1 is what, 3-0, 3-3-ish? It shouldn't be. They don't need to be. But on the plus side, I do get to use one of the 25 kilogram bombs. On the negative side, here comes an XF5F. Of course, I recently reviewed this little fella. I love that thing. But attacking an IL-2 is not exactly the best approach angle, and not only that, you're hitting the tail, not the gunner's position. So, yeah. That didn't exactly end well for you now, did it? That's kill number 6. Like I said, I'm not going to get a huge amount of ground pounding done. Of course, I'm using the 25 kilo bombs just to save a little bit on ammo, because I have used quite a bit already. And this is just what this plane can do. And of course, the 25 kilo bombs are only light, they're not really that heavy. So, yeah, plus they're pretty light, they get the job done. And of course, as long as you drop your bomb in the same postcode as something, they tend to kill stuff. I mean, they won't really kill a tank. I mean, I have killed a light tank before with this bomb, but I wouldn't call it easy. So what I'm doing right now is trying to multitask and failing horribly. I tried to get the rear gunner to shoot at that ground target and possibly take it out from that distance, but unfortunately, 1, my bullets barely hit, and number 2, yeah, I didn't exactly have a lot of ammo left in the tail gunner, but oh well. It doesn't matter. So, for some reason, this base here is not showing as an actual base you can bomb. I'm not sure why, now it's just decided to do that. I'm not sure why it was doing that in the replay. I've tried to fix that, but the only way I'm fixing it is with a server replay, and I don't really see the reason to use a server replay just to fix a bit of base bombing. But obviously, as you saw there, that was 10 bombs, and it did about a third of the base, which, for how small these bombs are, that's pretty impressive. And as I said, these aren't the biggest bombs in terms of explosive mass, in terms of weight, but it's not bad. And, I mean, it's getting the job done, so there's always a benefit, isn't there? Of course, I have took some damage, as we all know. There is some holes in the plane, there is some light damage across the wings and the tail, and also the fuselage area, but this thing can take a beating when it comes to machine gun fire. Cannon fire will rip this thing to pieces, as with any plane. But, you know, it's just something, you know, you gotta, like, no plane can really survive a cannon consistently. So, yeah. So at this point, instead of hunting for ground targets, which is what I should have been doing, I decided to go a little bit more fighter mode. And that's what this thing can do, but of course, as you can tell, it is struggling, because at the end of the day, this is still quite a heavy aircraft. And the engine power, whilst sufficient, isn't going to be... It's not. Let's put it this way, you're not going to be beating a jet anytime soon, and you're definitely not going to be beating an LA5 in a race. But I'm just going to jump us a little bit ahead here, even with the god-awful replay sounds. I really don't know why Gaijin needed to change these, because it just sounds like you're on one of those old television reels, like back in the 40s or something. It sounds stupid, but that's Gaijin for you. Jumped about a minute ahead, and here is the last guy in his BF-109. Now, I must admit, this is the funniest part of this match, so if you've not been hugely satisfied with the amount of butt kicking that we've done, don't worry, there's going to be more. And, well, there's also going to be quite a funny moment, which I'll point out in just a moment. So, of course, I'm only down to 7.62s, I don't have any 23mm left. And the 109 for some reason starts shooting at this bridge. However, these bridges have very poor hitboxes. I'm not sure if people have actually learnt this, but yeah, these bridges have horrible hitboxes. And this bridge decided to flip him in the middle finger, as we're going to see in a second. If you look closely, his propeller is destroyed. So I just line it up and put the bullets in the back of the cockpit. And that's job done at kill number 7. I don't know why that guy thought flying under a bridge when he clearly saw me above him was a bright idea, but maybe he thought I was just going to ignore him. I don't know, but if that doesn't show you what this plane can do, I don't know what will, because this thing is rather consistent in at least most of my matches. But of course, you can take out medium tanks, you can take out some heavies if you go from the top in Ground RB and all that. You can pretty much get whatever you want done in this vehicle, and you can also bring along some 250kg bombs for anything that the 100 kilos or the cannons just can't crack. And the 250s are more than enough with this thing's maneuverability, because you can easily get them on target anyway. I hope you enjoyed seeing this match. Of course, it's only a short one, because this match wasn't really long, and the first few minutes was just me chasing an A36 as I tried to do my task. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this one. I was actually going to use a second match that I had in an IL-2, but don't worry, I think I've got something a little bit better in the form of Big Chungus, which will come up eventually. Anyway, I'll leave you all to it for today. Hope you enjoyed seeing the IL-2 in action, and I'll see you all on the next one.